Exactly.
I like that plan. So anyway, guys, for those of you wondering, we are, of course, here on Neoplanet S for game number 3 of this best of 3 between two amazingly talented players, and spawning in the top right-hand position, representing O Gaming, give me all your money, as the pink Zerg player. It is JonnyREcco. And spawning in the bottom left-hand position is the purple Protoss player from, playing possibly from Switzerland. I'm not sure at the moment. Representing team My Insanity Elvis Isn't Dead, the Irish Protoss player. It is ABomb.
Now, production, they're saying, don't we already drop subliminal hints? Maybe you do. You'd have to follow us. You'd have to follow us on Twitter at @MadelsSC2 in order to know if we drop subliminal hints or not, though.
It's true.
Just saying.
They never dropped a subliminal hint at all.
No, never.
Nope.
Never, ever, ever. At JonnyREcco. Just never happens, does it? It's not part of our programming.
Nope. And we've got the spawning pool coming down first, by the way, from JonnyREcco. ABomb, in the meantime, he is very, very close to going for that Nexus first by the looks of things here. And he is going to be putting that down. So the Overlord from JonnyREcco will be able to spot this immediately. And, of course, that's going to mean that ABomb has to get this wall off down pretty quickly indeed. There's the forge, so that he can get a cannon in place to ward off any early glings. And, ooh, the probe, actually, at the natural expansion of JonnyREcco, trying to block that hatch, actually paying for that with his life.
That drone had the greatest life ever before he became a hatchery. He killed a probe and then became a base. Like, every little lava dreams of something like that happening. It's the American dream for a drone, that.
It's true. Yeah, I guess. I mean, what you could maybe kill an immortal. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool. That would be incredibly cool, actually.
At the 3-minute mark, that could be a bit tough, though.
Yeah. It would also make Protoss really OP if they could get an immortal out at the 3-minute mark.
So, no big overreaction here from JonnyREcco. In fact, he's only making 2 Zerglings instead of 4 so that he can squeeze out that 1 extra drone, which is great. He's also started his 3rd base very, very quickly after that as well. So these are just going to be used for scouting if there are pylons out across the map, scouting to see if there are any probes being sent out from ABomb, and if there are, it's the Ling's jobs to follow them to make sure they can't put down a proxy pylon without JonnyREcco knowing. One Ling, of course, won't kill the probe as long as it's running away, but he will be able to keep tabs on them and force ABomb to not have a presence out on the map. So, really liking this so far from JonnyREcco, playing it nice and cool and calm, and going into that macro game that he loves so much.
Now, a little update from the other side of the bracket, the other semi-final, Dream versus Shibby. Dream went 2-1 against Shibby. So, an exact repeat of Sunday evening's finals.
Wow. So congratulations to Dream. Shibby falling to Dream once again. But Shibby's now had a finals appearance and a semi-finals appearance. So it has to be said, in the point standings, Shibby's still doing pretty well right now.
Yeah, he's getting a lot of points. First place gets 250, second place 150, and then I forget what's down from there. But basically, yeah, Shibby getting a second place and then a third, fourth is going to be happy with that.
Yeah, he's going to be very happy with that indeed. Absolutely fantastic stuff from both of those players. And of course, they're going to have to continuously keep it up throughout these 6 qualifiers to make sure they are in that top 8. Now, we have got a Twilight Council being placed once again. We've seen quite a lot of those today so far, Madels, and ABomb is putting it in the very bottom corner of his base.
And now, go on. What does that mean, Joroso?
It means that it's a little bit more likely that it's going to be a Dark Shrine. But that said, he's now surrounded it with gateways. So,
which makes it less likely.
It does make it less likely. And this map actually is quite popular for Blink. Moving into the main base is just a decent chunk of cliff you're able to use to blink in and out. But I'm going to be metagamed about 15,000 times as a caster. I've seen so many Blink plays on Neoplanet S, but then the positioning of the Twilight Council made me rethink, and now I just don't know what to think anymore as the Dark Shrine goes down.
Just, honestly, it's a minefield trying to predict whether it's going to be DTs or Blinks.
Oh, but I tell you what, look at this. Look at this. 2 spore coils.
I don't know what I meant to be looking at. I'm observing, and you're saying, look at this.
Main base of ABomb. Main base
of ABomb?
Yep.
ABomb, yep.
And that Overlord has seen everything.
What a good Overlord.
Everything.
And that means Spore Crawlers will come down.
Spore
Everywhere,
Crawlers
Spore
were actually
Crawlers.
starting to come down before the Overlord even went in, which is great. Fantastic star sense there from JonnyREcco. He just went, well, hang on a second. I'm not seeing much pressure out of you. What are you teching up to? Better get a Spore Crawler just in case. Love
Oh, look at that surround. That is sick right there. Absolutely clutch Zergling control, and the Stalkers get instantly annihilated. The Zealots as well. They're taking a big bit of damage here. And yeah, the Queen just busy trying to work away at the Zealots. And actually, with the next warp in, the Queen will die. That's a bit of a loss. So that's going to hurt production. And now suddenly these drones are in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah, they need to wait for those roaches to come out. There are 6 of them. Oh, excellent hold position, Micro, forcing ABomb there to manually target the drones. While the roach does a bit of damage, you need to get more army over here. The creep spread isn't extended correctly from the natural to the third base, so you're not getting units over there quite as quickly as you otherwise would have liked. And oh, here come a couple of DTs. They're getting picked apart very quickly, but the Zealots still doing a lot of damage, and the DTs now going to be picking apart the Spore Crawl. All of a sudden, JonnyREcco is really struggling.
Yeah, this is going to be a big problem now for Rico. He's going to lose that third, and when it comes to... Oh no, he's got the Overseer coming in. That's actually good news for him. Basically, now he can deal with these DTs. He keeps the third hatch up. This is not going to repeat game number 2, where, of course, ABomb killed all of the hatcheries repeatedly.
Yeah, that is probably what ABomb had in mind, to be honest, when he went with that attack. He's thinking, well, as long as I start killing off the base of JonnyREcco, it seems to be very difficult for him to deal with stuff. And I have to say, those engagements did look pretty good for ABomb, and I don't want to complain about any of them. But with hindsight now, with that initial Zealot and a couple of DTs, wouldn't it have made sense, maybe, for him to try and focus down the third? Because now JonnyREcco is starting to consolidate.
Yeah, he's going to just start pumping out more and more drones. He's also got a decent number of roaches just coming. Oh, those Zerglings nearly actually made it past into the main. That would have... They did get the scatter off the robotics facility, though. The Overlord also seeing that. So JonnyREcco knows exactly what's coming down. He has seen the third base too, with the Overlord just sitting there puking creep everywhere. But all in all, this is now Rico knowing exactly what's going down and can basically try and prevent and counter that by getting things like the Hydralisk then on its way, getting down more roaches, also getting Burrow. That's quite an interesting thing to see. But yeah, the drone count now skyrocketing, and the roaches still giving a pretty good map presence.
I'm a little bit worried for JonnyREcco. The Hydralisk is coming down, which is great against this kind of composition. Just high DPS to try and stop those Zerglings and, sorry, to stop the Immortals from coming in and dealing the damage they've done. But I feel like ABomb might be able to push out right now, and JonnyREcco might scramble to get Hydralisk out in time to defend the third base.
He needs to pick up that pylon. And yes, he does get it. That's really big.
That's big.
No reinforcements now can come in. And of course, if he gets down a decent number of Hydras, which he is, then he's not got too much to worry about. But a probe was pulled as soon as the first proxy pylon was taken down, ready for ABomb to start placing some more, because those reinforcements are essential.
But this has given JonnyREcco enough time to get the Hydras popping out of all of his hatcheries in one place to defend against this. If that attack hit its initial timing, the Hydras could have been quite fragmented. Now they're going to be together, and that gives JonnyREcco a much better chance in this next fight.
Yeah, he's still pumping out more Hydralisks as well, more Roaches too, and getting group spines for the Hydras, because that's when you want to be defensive. You need that extra range. Good pre-splitting of all of these units. The force fields, though, are going to be the concern. The Zealots are getting taken out. The Roaches pushing forward. The Hydras need to focus the Immortals as best they can. Use their high DPS to get them down, allowing the Roaches to deal with everything else. One of the Immortals does now go down. The second one just out of range, but for the moment, JonnyREcco looking to be able to force back this push. The retreat for ABomb is now essential, and a couple of sentries getting sniped off. That's frustrating.
So much gas being lost in these Immortals and Sentries right now, and look at the DPS in this army. JonnyREcco is tanking all of it and then dishing a lot of it back. This could end up being the counter push that wins the series. Will he get to the finals at the expense of ABomb? The rest of the army is going down. Changelings are being popped down as well, just for good measure here, and JonnyREcco now has a 60 supply advantage over his Protoss opponent.
This third base for ABomb is now looking very, very concerned, because Rico, even if he doesn't decide just to go straight into the natural, he has got a mountainous number of units. He's pushing forward. Behind this as well, he's getting the infestation pit down, but it looks like the Immortal is going to get focused very quickly. The Forge getting taken out. Rico doesn't even care about the third. He's just going for the juggler.
And he is absolutely right too. He's currently 157 supply up versus 96
Ooh,
at the
DT's
moment.
coming down. And the Overseers were so carefully staying with the army previously are nowhere to be seen.
Clutch defense, but is this delaying the inevitable? JonnyREcco continuing to make a lot of roaches here. Good time warp going down to allow the DD to do maximum damage, but here come the Overseers, and JonnyREcco is going to turn around and continue to dish out the pain.
A couple of changelings getting dropped down there too, but that DT warp in did buy ABomb quite a bit of time. But I think he may need a bit more than time here. He's got to be so careful with what Rico does next because his natural has no wall off. This Immortal is completely undefended. It's going to get taken down. That means roaches are so much more effective. The Stalkers for ABomb are going to have to try and get back. Remember, they don't have Blink or anything like that. It's just plus 1-0 for ABomb. And the Reapers, the Zerg units are just doing a huge amount of damage.
Oh, very nice. They're picking up the Cybernetics core, unable to reinforce with Stalkers. That's going to be a GG, well played. And JonnyREcco advances over ABomb by a scoreline of 2-1 here at the ESET UK Masters Qualifier semi-final.